Okay, shall we wait for 5 minutes? Then we can start the class, right? Okay, so we'll wait for 5 minutes, then we can start the class. How are you? Ananya, Priyanka, how are you? I am also fine, Ananya. Good evening, everybody. We still people are not joining, huh? Okay, guys, still people are not came. I don't know why, due to the lethargic schedule of 5 o'clock class is not that good, right? Do you feel 5 o'clock class is good? I personally feel that 5 o'clock class is little bit, taking relax. Huh? So after listening 1.5 hour class, then again sitting in the class. Is it it? Is it like that? Shall I reply, guys? Try to reply in the WhatsApp. Sorry, in the chat box. See how life is. Yeah, yeah. Yes. Not like that, sir. Okay, Akshata, very good. Good girl. तेरे मिट्टी में मिल जावा गुल बनके मैं खिल जावा इतनी सी मेरे दिल की बारिश दे नदियों में तेरे खेतों में हाँ इतनी सी मेरे दिल की बारिश ओ Okay, guys. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Adavar se vanakkam for Maharashtrians. Kasha is to me, or and for girls, Kashiya is to me. For Kannada, for is there any Karnataka people? For them, it's like ಹೇಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ ನೇ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೇನೆ, right? For any Telugu, I hope nobody is there. ఎలా ఉన్నారు and all. So for Hindi, कैसे हो सब लोग? बहुत बढ़िया मेरे हिसाब से लग रहा है. तो कल चलिए शुरू करते हैं आज की क्लास. कैसे मतलब what exactly happened in the previous class and what we are going to see. So पहले कल के क्लास में बात करने से पहले एक अच्छे से आराम अधिगर अधिरी गुरु जी. ओके, आराम आराम आराम. यस, Praneeth, very good. Patan Shetty. I like that name, yaar. Praneeth Patan Shetty. So nice. Satyam, good evening. Mamata, good evening. Okay, once again, good evening, everybody. Please say something in the group. So let me have some technical check. So yeah, say something in the group. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, guys. Very good. Good evening. Okay. Namaste, sir. Sravanti. Namaste, namaste. Chitur. CTR means Chitradurga, right? CTR means Chitradurga or Chittur. Seventy CTR means what? Chittur or Chitradurga? Yes, Chitradurga. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Chalo guys. Let's have the class. I was wait. It's already 3 minutes, but still people are not came. So try to answer this question, guys. So which of the following statements are true regarding the colligative properties? I hope yesterday you people are there. Praneeth, very good, very good. Try to see the question. Which of the following statements are true regarding the colligative property? What is mean by colligative property? Yesterday we have seen this one. Which one is true? I got two answers and two answers are wrong. What about other? Satyam, are you there? Nishchita, very good. Bhumika, wrong. Akshata, don't desperate. Okay, like people are directly opting option D. It's not always correct. Okay, I can block you also. Okay, and again I'm saying that yeah, it's absolutely wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong actually. It's wrong. Lisha, very good. Good evening. Yeah. Chalo, let's launch the poll and I would like to see. I hope everybody has given there. So people who are joined now, please go through the technical poll. If you have any issue, it's okay. Or else not also fine. I'm going to launch the poll. There are you there guys. Chalo. Chalo. I'm going to launch the NPCQ poll. So I just want to see how many people are going to answer. Okay, okay, I'm getting different answer. Everybody go through the polls. MCQ polls. Kiran Thakure, sister of Satish Thakure and Shubham Thakure. Okay, I know. Yeah, Bhagyasri, very good. Harash. Okay, okay. Wrong, Arsha. And I told this point yesterday, right? Yeah. So many people have started giving answers. That's cool. And see here. So to discuss about colligative property, what do you mean by colligative property? What do you mean by colligative property? Yesterday we have discussed. So let's suppose that this is your pure solvent. Nothing is there. You are having pure solvent only present. So usually we take water as a pure solvent, which is usually universal solvent. So the vapor pressure which is exhibited by the pure solvent is taken as P1 naught. This is nothing but pure solvent vapor pressure. Now I have added something to it. I have added a non-volatile solute. I have added a non-volatile solute. Okay, so I have added a non-volatile solute. Now this is going to I have added a non-volatile solute. So this is my solute particles. These are my solute particles, and this is my water. And what are the water molecules are trying to evaporate? What are the water molecules are trying to evaporate? Here, very good water vapors are evaporate. Okay, here the water molecules can evaporate very good. So vapor pressure will be high. Vapor pressure will be high for the water. But here, due to the presence of solute, due to presence of solute, they are acting as a barriers, right? They are acting as a barriers and stop the uh, water molecules and stop the water molecules to escape. So very, if you can see pure escaping of molecules. So that means when there is a very less escaping means we can say less vapor pressure has been observed. So here P1 naught is present because it is present in the solution, and as per the Raoult's law we know that P1 can be calibrated by P1 naught into X1. So that is nothing but this is my P1 and this is my P1 naught. So if you compare these two, we know that P1 naught will be greater than P1. This is what we have seen in the previous class, right? So P1 naught is greater than P1. This is what we have seen in the previous class. Why? Because the presence of non-volatile solute will obviously decrease the vapor pressure. The presence of a non-volatile solute will obviously decrease the vapor pressure. That is what we see, right? Okay. So 53% students have been voted till now. I just want many more of it. Today's strength is not good. I don't know what happened. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Actually, this is discussed one, so that's why I'm moving a little bit faster. Yeah, no issues. So colligative properties are simply, if you can, simply say that, yeah. So simply say that colligative properties are depending upon the number of particles. Colligative properties are simply depending upon the number of particles of non-volatile solute. Non-volatile solute. Yesterday we have discussed, and it is does not depend on nature. Let's suppose say you have taken 1 mole of sucrose and you have taken 1 mole of urea and you have taken 1 mole of glucose, all are going to have same decrease in vapor pressure. Same decrease in vapor pressure. So when whatever, whether you are using sucrose or urea or glucose or ethanol or anything, it is not depending upon the nature. It is depending on how many moles. As you are using equal number of moles, that means equal number of pressure will be there. Simple point is it does not depend upon the nature, irrespective whether it might be a solid, liquid or solid or anything. It does not depend. It only depends upon the particles of the solute. It only depends upon the particles of the solute. And obviously, if you can see this one, the vapor pressure of the pure solvent is minimum compared to the non-volatile solute solvent solution. And I told you earlier, what I told you here, this is my pure solvent. Okay, this vapor pressure is always greater than the what the solvent pressure of the solution. Usually it is containing non-volatile solute. It is containing non-volatile solute. So that's why my pressure will be lower. My vapor pressure will be low compared to the pure solvent vapor pressure. Because initially we are having water. These are free to move. So my vapor pressure will be very good. Now I have added something to it. Now I have added something to it. These are going to block the molecules which are going to escape. So that's why only very few, that means my vapor pressure will be low. So from here only we have seen that the decrease in vapor pressure, we are going to read the decrease in vapor pressure, how the vapor pressure has been decreased. We are reading that one through colligative properties. So colligative properties are simply explaining why the decreased vapor pressure, what might be the reason, and how to how to find the decrease in vapor pressure can also be calculated by using the colligative property. So simply it only depends on number of particles. It's only depends on number of particles, not on the nature. Simple point, not on the nature, only on the particles. I hope everybody is clear with this. I hope everybody is clear with this. Is it clear to everybody? Is it clear to everybody? Yes, Ananya, very good. So is it clear to everybody? Please say yes or no in the chat box. Please say yes or no in the chat box. Okay? Yeah. Okay, very good, Ananya, very good. So it's only completely depending upon B, and we already know C is wrong and D obviously wrong. Yes, and we have seen these particular statements. The revision of previous class is very most important. Everybody listen here. So the vapor pressure of the solution decreases when a non-volatile solute is added to the volatile solvent. So very simple point. I have told you that same point I have been discussing. This is your water. Initially, these all are the water molecules. So these can easily escape. They can easily escape. So when we are having pure solvent, when you are having pure solvent, our vapor pressure will be P naught. Okay. Now, what is going to happen? Now I have added a non-volatile solute. Now I have added a non-volatile solute, which is nothing but this is going to block. So the vapor pressure will be, let's suppose say P1, and simply P1 naught is always greater than P1, right? This is what we have seen in the previous class. Okay, so another important point. Okay, so that's why my vapor pressure will always decreases. So all the colligative properties depending upon, once again, the number of solute particles irrespective of the nature. I request you to please go through the statements. It completely depending upon the number of particles and it is irrespective of their nature. And relative lowering of vapor pressure. What do you mean by relative lowering of vapor pressure? Before going to know about this, we know this one, P1 is given by P1 naught into X1. So that means as per the Raoult's law, he is saying that my vapor pressure is directly proportional to the mole fraction and by the involvement of the pure solvent vapor pressure, right? What is the vapor pressure of the pure solvent can also be used for the calculation of the solvent vapor pressure, right? So this relative lowering of vapor pressure we have seen in the previous class, that depends upon the mole fraction of the solute. So that means how much solute you are adding, right? How much solute you are adding, that will going to distinguish. Let's suppose say this is your water, okay, and it will have n1 moles. Okay, so let's suppose say water is n1 moles. This is my solvent, right? Now I have added something to it. Usually I am adding a non-volatile solute. I am adding a non-volatile solute, usually urea, or you can say sucrose or anything. So I am saying that N2 will be my moles. I am saying N2 moles are present here. So then this will become my solution, right? So what I'm saying is that relative lowering of vapor pressure is directly depending upon the mole fraction. Mole fraction is nothing but X2 will become N2 upon N1 plus N2, right? And we already know that N1 is far far greater than N2, because if you take N1 of water is, let's suppose, say 5 moles, and for the solute, solute moles will be N2 will become 0.002, let's suppose say. So if you add N1 plus N2, we are going to get 5 plus 0.002. Obviously 5, right? I can write it as 5. No issues, no change. Can I write it as 5? Please mention in the chat box. Can I write it as 5? Please mention in the chat box. Please mention in the chat box. Can I write it as 5? Right? Very good, Praneeth. Okay, very good, Satyam. Rashmi, very good. Sneha, very good, Nishchita. Right. So that is what we know to that. So relative lowering of vapor pressure. Here P1 naught will be the pressure. Here P1 will be the pressure of the solvent here. So solvent vapor pressure here is P1, and here the solvent vapor pressure is P1 naught. So if you want calibrate, and here something vapor pressure has been decreased. Something vapor pressure has been decreased. So to know this one, so to know this one, what is going to happen? So initially this is my pure solvent, only water, we are having P1 naught, and now upon adding something to it, we are going to have some solute here. This is my solution, okay, which will have P1. So to know the reduction in vapor pressure, we are using this one. So upon calculated this one, we have found this one. This is X2, as we have distinguished yesterday. So this particular term is called as relative lowering of vapor pressure. How much vapor pressure has been decreased? How much vapor pressure has been decreased, okay, can be calibrated by using the mole fraction of the solute. You can also calculate, let's suppose say if you are adding solute 1, and if you are adding solute 2, if you are adding solute 3, that means my RLVP is completely depending upon X2 plus X3 plus X4. I hope everybody is clear with that. I hope everybody is clear with this, right? The relative lowering of vapor pressure will depend only upon the mole fraction of solute. That is the only one point. So here you can see, right? Now, sir, how do we derive? So this is nothing but the relative lowering of vapor pressure can be calculated. Initially, the vapor pressure of the water in the solution, okay, here the vapor pressure of water, this is P1 is nothing but vapor pressure of water, right? Vapor pressure of water. The reduction in vapor pressure, how much vapor pressure has been reduced, how much vapor pressure has been reduced compared to pure solvent and as well as the solution when after adding a non-volatile solute, can be given like this. So we have seen these equations, in the previous class. This is the relation we got, okay. So this is nothing but the relative lowering of vapor pressure. This is nothing but the relative lowering of vapor pressure. And we know that X2 can be written as N2 upon N1 plus N2. And for the dilute solution, our N1 will be far, far, far greater than N2, as I told you earlier. Okay, as I told you earlier. So that means we can neglect the N1, we can neglect the N2, so that N1 plus N2 will become N1. So from that, we already know that number of moles can be written as weight by gram molecular weight, right? So now the new formula will become, this one. And we know that delta P1 is equal to P1 naught minus P1, okay. And here already we are having P1 naught, so we can also write like this as P1 naught is equal to, this is nothing but weight of solute, and we already know, right? We already know about this. Already we have seen weight of the mass of, or we can say mass of the solvent and as well as the solute, right? So M2 and M1 and M2 are the molar mass of the solute and the solvent. This is what we have seen in the previous class, right? My voice is lower. Yeah. So due to internet connections also sometimes it happen, guys. So please be like patient sometime. Okay, I'm extremely sorry for that. Okay, because I can't like that's the point I can say. So guys, what do you mean by boiling point? If I want you to talk me about what do you mean by boiling point, that's really important. So boiling point is nothing but the temperature. So if I talk about the boiling point, if I talk about the boiling point, the temperature at which my vapor pressure is equal to, simple point, my vapor pressure of the liquid is equal to atmospheric pressure of the gas, right? So vapor pressure of the liquid must be equal to atmospheric pressure of the gas than these particular temperature. Let's suppose say if you can see at the first one, initially my atmospheric pressure is increasing. My atmospheric pressure is increasing. Here very high atmospheric pressure, okay? And later on my vapor pressure is very low. My vapor pressure is very low. And here my vapor pressure is moderate at 25 degrees Celsius, right? And if you can see at 70 degrees, and we already know upon increment in the temperature, upon increasing the temperature, we already know that my vapor pressure can also increases. Do you agree with this or not? Please mention in the chat box. Do you agree with this or not? Please mention in the chat box. Everybody, I want everybody's response. Very few people are responding. Everybody has to respond for this. Okay. Yes. Yes. Very good. So upon increasing, see at 25 degrees Celsius, we are having low vapor pressure. Now at 70 degrees, now it has reached to moderate level. Now at 70 degrees, it has reached to moderate level. Now at the 100 degrees, both the atmosphere is equal to the vapor pressure. At 100 degrees, both the atmospheric pressure is equal to vapor pressure. That's why at this particular temperature, at temperature 100 degrees Celsius, my water will start boiling. My water will start boiling, which I can say it as, a boiling point. The point, or we can say the temperature point at which my vapor pressure is equal to atmosphere is nothing but my boiling point of that particular solution. And we have seen this graph in the previous time. Okay, so the variation of vapor pressure of the pure solvent as a function of temperature, we have seen this, right? We have seen this graph. So this is, if you can observe, when you are having only a solvent, okay, only solvent, if you know this one, I hope everybody know this one, right? So if you can observe the solvent, so upon increasing the temperature at time T1, T2, T3, and at a temperature 100 degrees Celsius, this is going to reach the atmospheric pressure, right? I hope everybody is clear with this. I hope everybody is clear with this, right? Now, if you can see this one, there is a gap between these two. There is a gap between these two. I can say it as a delta P. Can I say it as a delta P? Can I say it is delta P? Please mention in the chat box, because we already know that pure solvent vapor pressure will be greater than the solution's vapor pressure. Please mention in the chat box. Please mention in the chat box. Everybody, please mention in the chat box. Right? Yes. So that's why my solution will be, which is having less vapor pressure compared to the solvent. So it required more temperature. It required more temperature. That is as simple as simple. Let's suppose that this is my water. Let's suppose that this is my water. At temperature 100 degrees Celsius, okay, it can evaporate, we can say that vapor pressure is equal to atmospheric pressure. But now, due to the presence of a solute, due to the presence of a solute, okay, my vapor pressure is low. My vapor pressure is low. That means vapor pressure has to be increased by increasing the temperature only. So that's why if you can observe, delta TB is greater than delta TB naught. Do you observe this or not? Do you observe this or not? Please mention this one from the graph. Can we say that one? From the graph, can we say this point or not? Please say in the chat box. Very good. I want everybody's reply. Nutan, very good. Nutan, come back. After sometimes I am seeing Nutan's reply. Most of the day, TB means yes. So here, this particular point, okay, so that means here the boiling point 100 degrees is nothing but TB naught. Pure solvent can be represented by TB naught. But this is my solution. This is my solution. Right? Everybody listen here. Everybody listen here. This is my solution. So the solution is already presence of the solvent molecules. So vapor pressure is low. That means temperature to boil, temperature to boil the solution is called as TB. Temperature to boil the solution is called as TB. TB naught is for the pure solvent and TB is for the solution. I hope everybody is clear with that. I hope everybody is clear with that. Right? Praneeth, is it clear now? Praneeth, is it clear now? Right, very good. And again, I am saying that the dilute solutions, okay, so the dilute solution is directly proportional to the molar concentration. Here what I am saying, the dilute solution is directly proportional to the molar concentration of the solute of the solution. That means if you can see delta TB, this is delta TB is directly proportional to the molality. Delta TB is directly proportional to the molality. And if you can see from the experiments of the dilute solution, the change, here we can say the change in boiling point, the change in boiling point of solution and solvent, that is if you can see delta TB is nothing but TB minus TB naught, because TB is always greater than TB naught, because lower vapor pressure requires higher boiling point. Lower vapor pressure requires higher boiling point. So whereas TB naught, we can say pure vapor pressure will be there. So usually it is high. Usually high vapor pressure will be present. So that's why at 100 degrees only it will find. So to make it simple, everybody listen here. To make it simple, so to make it simple, this is my particular solution. So this is my pure solvent. Okay. So this is my water. So it is exhibiting vapors very good. It is having very good vapors, good vapor pressure. Good vapor pressure is there. So at 100 degrees Celsius. So that means my vapor pressure is equal to atmospheric pressure. But due to the addition of non-volatile solute, due to the addition of solute, what is going to happen now? Now I have added the solute. Okay, this is my solution. So these are my solute particles. Okay, these are going to block the water molecules. That means my vapor pressure is low. My vapor pressure is low. We already know that vapor pressure is directly proportional to temperature. Right, very good. Vapor pressure will decreases. So that means upon increasing the temperature, so if you increase the temperature, my vapor pressure will increase. So that means delta TB naught is equal to 100 degrees Celsius. Here this is my TB. If I increase this one, then my vapor pressure will increases. Praneeth, Praneeth, you need to know the previous classes. You need to know the previous classes. Okay, so you need to know the if you are not knowing means I can't help you. So that means TB must be raised. So obviously TB is always greater than 100 degrees Celsius or not. Please tell me in the chat box. Please tell me in the chat box. I will giving options A, TB is greater than TB naught. B, TB is less than TB naught, and C, TB is equal to TB naught. Please mention in the chat box what is the correct answer. What is the correct answer? What is the correct answer? Very good Ananya, very good Rashmi, very good Satyam, very good Sujit, very good Lisha, very good Mamata, very good Sakshi. So obviously TB, I'm extremely sorry here. I forgot to mute everybody. Yeah, so thank you. So TB is obviously greater than TB naught. This is what we have seen. Okay, guys. So that is what I just want to tell you. And you can see we already know that the change in temperature with the solution minus solvent is given by molality, and whereas Kb is called as molal elevation constant. Don't confuse with molal. Molal is nothing but related to the molality. Okay, molal elevation constant, or we can say boiling point elevation constant. We can say boiling point elevation constant. Okay, and next we can say that ebullioscopic constant, and we know that Wt is nothing but weight of solute upon gram mol, or you can say gram or molar mass of solute into 1000 upon weight of solvent. We already know this formula, right? We already know this formula, right? I hope everybody know this one. I hope everybody is know this one, right? Yeah, listen here carefully. Listen here carefully. Okay, right. So what is going to happen? You can calculate delta TB by you simply keeping KB as 1000 W2 into M2 into W1, right? So this is what we have seen. TB minus TB naught, you can get that one. So units of KB is Kelvin kg per mole. Units of KB is Kelvin kg per mole. Okay. So you can also calculate KB, whereas R is a gas constant. Okay, and TB you already know that solution boiling point, solution boiling point, and delta vaporization is nothing but the energy is required to convert liquids into vapors. Okay, so the energy is required to convert liquids into vapors is given by enthalpy of the vaporization. Okay, so I request you try to solve this question. I request you try to solve this question. Try to solve this question. So an aqueous solution is having 2% of a non-volatile solute. So let's suppose say if this is my solution, it consists of solute plus solvent. Okay, if this is, I am saying it is a solution, and they are simply saying that solute is already presenting 2%. So obviously solvent will be 98%. Let's suppose say, let's suppose say 1% is equal to 1 gram. Okay, 1% is equal to 1 gram. So that means it will be 2 grams and it will be 98 grams. Okay, yes, Pranit, very good. If you people are doing textbook means you can answer is this one. And so they are saying that the aqueous solution exerts a pressure. That means P1 is given as 1.004. P1 is given as 1.004. This is aqueous solution vapor pressure after adding a non-volatile solute. After adding a non-volatile solute, we already know that P1 naught will become 0.13 bar. This is standard. This is standard. Everybody needs to remember this one. This is nothing but my atmospheric pressure. Then you can solve the molar mass of the solute. So simply we can solve by using this formula. Very good Satyam, very good Praneet, very good Ananya. So we can simply solve by using this formula. So that means here you can see 1.01 bar and pressure will become 1.004, and we already know that this is the standard one. Never ever forget this one. Weight will be 2 grams, molecular mass will be 18, this is for water, and this is the content of water. That means this is my solvent. Okay, so if you can calculate this one, you are going to get 41.35 gram molecular mass, right? So that is the point we all need to know. Next, depression in the freezing point. This is very, very most important point. So if you can see here, if you can see the animation, water is coming, and then there is a formation of ice cubes. Then there is a formation of ice cubes. So simple point is that if you want me to tell me initially it is liquid, okay, which is in the what are the vapor pressure of the liquid when it is equilibrium with the solvent, solid, or we can say frozen water, or we can say frozen water vapor pressure at when they are both are equilibrium, when both are equilibrium, then I can say that, then I can say this one. So then I say this one as freezing point. Then I say this particular point is called freezing point. As we already know that boiling point is simply, boiling point will be atmospheric pressure is equal to vapor pressure. But what about freezing point? Freezing point is nothing but liquid is converting into solid at a particular temperature T. At a particular temperature T, liquid vapors we're going to convert into solids. So that is nothing but my freezing point. So here I have completely given the definition. Here I have given the complete definition. So the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the substance in its liquid state, the vapor pressure of the substance in its liquid state. Yes, very good, Praneeth. Okay, will be equal to the vapor pressure of the solid phase. Okay, at this particular point is called as freezing point. We already know this point, right? We already know this point. So the temperature of a pure liquid is equal to pure liquid. So as per the Raoult's law, he is saying that when a non-volatile solute is added to the solvent, its vapor pressure will decreases. What is going to happen? Its vapor pressure will be decreases, and now it would become equal to that of the solid solvent. What is going to happen? So when you are adding a non-volatile solute, the solvent vapor pressure will decreases, the solvent vapor pressure will be decreases. Okay, so the solvent vapor pressure will be decreases, and now it is become equal to the solid solvent at lower temperature. Simple point is liquid of water, whatever the vapor pressure is having, so due to the addition of non-volatile solute, due to the addition of non-volatile solute, what is going to happen? It is going to form a solution. It is going to form a solution. So usually the vapor pressure is low here. Usually the vapor pressure is low here. So usually here the water is present in the form of solid. The water is present in the form of solid. Okay, at this particular temperature where the liquid is converting into solid, at that particular temperature is called freezing point. So we already know that the freezing point will also decreases. The freezing point of the solvent will also decreases. That is the simple point. Okay, so if you are increasing the temperature also, the freezing point will changes. So the lowering of vapor pressure, everybody see here. Yeah. Yeah. So the graph will be little bit trickier here. Everybody listen careful. So this is the graph for the solid water. This is the graph for the solid water. I hope everybody can clearly see. Okay, so that means the vapor pressure is very low at the lower temperature only. Here you can see this is the temperature T1. That means it will be very low, right? Lower temperature only, the water will be present in the form of solid. So now here if you can observe, the liquid is going to convert into solid at this particular point. Liquid can be converted into solid at this particular point. So the temperature at which the liquid solvent is converting is called as freezing point of the pure solvent. Okay, so whenever the water is present, now it is converted into solid water. So the temperature at which the liquid pure solvent water is converted into solid is called as TF naught. Is called as Tf naught. If you can observe this one, and obviously we know that there is a pressure difference between these two. There is a pressure difference between these two. Okay. So again, whenever this solution is going to reach the particular Frozen solvent point, is going to reach at the particular Frozen solvent point, that is nothing but Tf, which is called as frozen point of the solution, because its vapor pressure is low. Because its vapor pressure is low, so that means at lower temperature only, it freezes. At lower temperature only it freezes, because its vapor pressure is low. Because vapor pressure is directly proportional to the temperature. We already know this one. Lower temperature means lower vapor pressure, right? So here we want actually lower temperatures. That is possible by the that's why our pressure is already low here. So at lower temperatures only we are going to get the solids. Okay, so that is why, if you can observe ice, to make ice, okay, you need to add something to it, liquid. Okay, if you want to convert water into ice, if you want to convert water into ice, you need, if you add something chemical to it, it will convert very easily. Okay, that means it is lowering the vapor pressure. When it lowers means it will changes. Yeah. Freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius. We already know that one. Freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius. And we can say the change in the change in temperature of, okay, freezing point, that is given by delta TF, means TF minus TF naught. TF minus TF naught. This is completely different with that one. So we know that delta TB for the boiling, that is TB minus TB naught. But now delta TF is nothing but TF naught minus TF. This is very, very most important. Everybody needs to remember this particular point. I request everybody to remember this particular point. Okay, delta TB, okay, and delta TF. How to clarify this one? This is very, very important point. Because if you can see the graph, this is going to get TB naught, and this is TB. And if you can see the graph, okay, so this is the frozen one, and this is for liquid solvent, and this is for the solution, and this is my TF, and this is my TF naught. So the change can be calculated. By TF naught minus TF. I hope everybody is clear with that. Okay. Other examples of freezing point, upon doing examples we are going to get. Okay. Pranit, we are going to get doing the problems. Okay. Yeah, same, sir. Is it same is equal to? You may also wonder that it is also equal to the molality. And same here. Kf is the new constant. So I can say Kf as a molar depression constant. As we can say Kb as a molar elevation constant, we can say Kf is a molar depression constant. Or we can also say freezing point of depression constant, or we can say cryoscopic constant. I can say that cryogenic cylinders. I hope you people are heard about this one. Cryogenic cylinders. Okay, usually it will lower temperature is highly favored and creates good concentration of the component. So usually COVID patients are using cryogenic oxygen cylinders. Okay, it will be concentrated oxygen will be present in that cylinder. Is it clear to everybody? Concentrated oxygen cylinders will be present, right? Right? Okay. So same, it is equal to molality. So keep the formula of the molality same here. Just only difference here is delta TF is TF naught minus TF. Okay, the only difference between delta TB and delta TF is it talks about the boiling point, it talks about the freezing point, and it is TB minus TB naught, and it is TF naught minus TF. Only difference between these two is same. So both molality only it is equal, and Kf, Kb are also having same units. You are going to have. Okay, there is nothing going to change, nothing new to learn from this, nothing new to learn. You can read once, you can get. Same here, you can calculate kf by using the formula. Okay, so enthalpy of fusion is nothing but the energy, that is nothing but the energy is required. Just wait. So here nothing but the energy. Let's suppose say these are the liquid molecules. These are my liquid molecules. You need to convert into solid. You need to convert into solid. So the energy required to convert, the energy required to convert liquid molecules into solid is called as enthalpy of fusion. Is called as enthalpy of fusion of the solvent. So usually Kf of water is 1.86. Usually the Kf of water is 1.86, right? I hope everybody is clear with that. So this is the overall graph. This is the overall graph. We know that one. Again I am telling this one. This is the overall graph. Delta TB is similar to delta TF. Only difference is delta TB is equal to delta TB minus TB naught, and the delta TF is equal to TF naught minus TF. Whereas this is for pure solvent, this is for solution, right? If you can see the combined graph, you can clearly observe that this is the frozen part, this is the frozen part. Okay, and this is the, what we can say, boiling part. This is the boiling part. Okay, so I hope everybody is clear with that. Okay, here you are having the pure solvent. Okay, so that means here the solution will be going to boil at this particular point. Okay, so I hope everybody is clear with this particular graph, right? Try to solve this question. Everybody. Try to solve this question. We need to go for osmotic pressure also. We need to go for osmotic pressure also. Try to go for this one. Try to solve this one. You need to calculate the freezing point of the aqueous solution. You need to calculate the freezing point of the aqueous solution containing 17 grams of ethyl alcohol in 1000 grams of water. Okay, you need to calculate that one. So you can calculate very easily. You can calculate it very easily. What is the answer? Okay, Praneeth. See, I am little bit rushed today. Okay, why I am rushing? Actually, I am rushing fast. Why? Because do you know that classes has been started from April? Classes has been started April. We are in the month of May 20. Okay, still we have only completed two chapters. We have only completed two chapters. Not second also. Only one we have completed. Only one we have completed. At, and think about it. If you are complete for 1 month, if you are taking two chapters, for 1 month, if you are taking two chapters, tell me how many days it will take to complete 12th and how many days it will take complete 11th. Tell me, Sinchana, correct answer. How many days it will take 12th to complete, and again we have 11th chapters. We need to revise this one, and how many months it will take. And your school classes will going to start from June or July. Most probably from June or July your school classes start. And if school started classes are start, you don't come to our classes, then few people will miss the classes. If you are not rushing fast means how much time it will take. Yeah, June 9th you are going to start. So that means sometimes you people read and come. Okay, Pranit, I know everybody is in the second only. I am not talking about I am not comparing with others. I am not comparing with others. What I'm saying is that if we miss, if you are going this much of slow, if you actually, let me tell you one point. Everybody tell me, telling you one point. Solutions, solid state, you are getting one question from JEE or NEET. Okay, maximum one, or else it may come or may not. Solid state maximum one, it may or may not. But there are some chapters like electrochemistry. There are some chapters like coordination compounds. Okay, so there are some chapters like P block elements. Okay, there are some chapters like chemical equilibrium or ionic equilibrium and atomic structure. Okay, so you are going to get 2 2 sometimes. You are going to get 2 2. Okay, so if you are chemical kinetics, okay, so at least one or two questions. But this is a small chapters actually. Solution is a small chapter. Okay, so if you are focusing more on that, means we don't get so much time to prepare these chapters. We don't get so much time to prepare these chapters. So what is going to happen? Obviously, we lose the time, and when the time is near, and we are rush the things too fast. Instead of that, so why I am concentrating here? Yes, I know colligative properties are very very important. Colligative properties are very very important, but these are simply based upon the formulas only. These are simply based upon the formulas, and you people can directly easily do. You people can easily do. You just practice. Okay, nothing is special care is required for this one. Nothing special is required, and afterward the osmosis is there. Okay, and you have want have factor. Only these are the two topics are left. Okay, I hope I wasted so much time here. Okay, so that's why when we are discussing something, okay, when we are discussing something, I think I will go a little bit faster. Okay, so don't worry about that. I am going to clear your doubts. I'm here to clear your doubts only. I am so sorry for this, but the time is less. Okay, the time is less. We need to be fast. If you are going slow means we are going to lose the time. That is the simple point. Okay, so if you can see this one, how to solve this one. So this is the formula we are going to use to calculate this one, and we have already given kf 1.86, and weight is given as 17 grams, and molecular mass is 46. How the molecular mass is 46? Carbon, we are having 2 carbons, 2 into 12 24. We are having 6 hydrogens are there, 6 hydrogens into 1 will become 6, and we are having oxygen, 1 into 16 is 16. Total we are going to calculate, you are going to get 46. So the molecular mass of C2H5OH will become 46 grams per mole. So now the weight will become 1000 grams as it is given for the solvent. Okay, this is for solute and this is for solute. Okay, they are asking for the freezing point. So if you can, you need to calculate the freezing point of the aqueous solution, that will become delta TF naught minus TF. Okay, this is what you are going to get. Okay, so from that you can calculate. So delta TF naught will going to get as 0.687 degrees Celsius. Okay, some people are answering minus, some people are giving okay directly 0.87. Okay, based upon the options you can check this one. So okay, so TF naught, if you are considering it as water, that will become 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, they are asking about the, if they are asking about should be the diffraction of freezing point of aqueous solution with respect to water, they are asking about diffraction of freezing point with respect to water, then you can answer this one only. Okay, guys, I hope these are the things we have discussed till now. Colligative properties that are depending only upon the number of particles, not on the identity of the particles. And second one, a relative lowering of vapor pressure. This is the formula that we have used. And third one, elevation of boiling point. This is the formula we have used. And freezing of boiling point, both are same. Only one point is delta TB, we are using TB minus TB naught, and the delta TF is TF naught minus TF. I hope everybody is clear with this. I hope everybody is clear with this. Shall I move forward? Or Pranit, do you have any doubts? Shall I move forward? Do you have any doubts, Pranit? Right? Yeah. Very good, Pranit. Thank you. So, what about others? Yeah, thank you. Nice. Like Pranit is asking whatever he is feeling, he asks. I really like Pranit. If Pranit is asking, you can also ask, because Pranit is not my relative or he's not my student also. I don't know him. I never see him. But like when you are acting, when you are listening something in the class, try to answer it. Okay, that's really important. Now try to discuss about osmotic process. What is this? Please mention in the chat box, everybody. What is this? What is this? Please mention in the chat box. Potato. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this is our Navodaya potato. Navodaya potato. I think every day in your school you will observe this one. Every day you will observe this one, right? This is a nowadays everyday meals. If you can check, you are going to observe potato. That's for sure. Every day, 90% you are going to have potato, right? So I am fed up with potato. When I see potato now, I will literally cry. Yeah, now you people are at home, so now they are not giving. When I was there at Shegaon, every day, every most probably at least weekly 3 to 4 times we used to see potato. Not 3 to 4 times, more than this. Okay, so now today we are doing some experiment with this. Now today we are doing some experiment with this. Okay. हाँ यस, सेगांव में कुछ कोई भी सब्जी में डालते रहता है वो, राइट? कोई भी सब्जी हो उसमें डालते रहता है. So let's suppose say I have cutted this one. I cut the aloo in the form of like this. So this is my aloo. I made a cavity. Okay, I made a cavity and this is my aloo. So I made the potato like this. I made the potato in the shape of like this. So this is all is cavity. Inside it we are having the cavity. Okay, cavity is nothing but vacant space. Now I have filled with salt water. Now I have filled with salt water. Okay. Now I have filled with salt water. Now this is this particular all, and I kept this in a particular vessel. Okay. So I kept all. This is my potato. This is my potato, and this is the level of my salt water. This is my level of my salt water. This is my salt water. Okay, and I poured some water inside it, and I poured some water inside it. So I have filled with some water, and I have filled with some water here. What is going to happen after some time? After some time, what is going to happen? Please mention in the chat box. After some time, what is going to happen? This is my potato. Okay, so that means here you can observe initially the level is okay. So you can say this is my salt water. So the level of water has been decreased. The level of water has been decreased. So now the level of salt water. So that means the level of salt water will increase or decrease. Please tell me in the chat box. The level of salt water will increase or decrease. It will boil. Pranit, you can't say direct it will boil or not. Decrease. Okay. Some people are saying that decrease, some people are saying increases. Why it will decrease or why it will increase? Please tell me. Why it will decrease? Why or it will increases? Please tell me. What is going to happen here? False. Many people told that it is false. It will increase. The level of salt water will increase. The level of salt water will increase. That is because what is going to happen? What is going to happen? If you can check, try this experiment today. Try this experiment in your home. Try this experiment in your home. Okay. Yes. Yes, that is very good, very good, very good. That means water is having lower concentration and salt water is having higher concentration. Salt water is having higher concentration. Water is having lower concentration. Water will going to absorb inside the potato cavity. Water will absorb inside the potato cavity. Then the level of salt water will increases. Then the level of salt water increases. No need to heat, no need to heat, just simply keep it, just simply keep it. Okay, so the simple point is that let's suppose say this is the setup. Okay, so everybody listen here carefully. This is the setup. So here I have closed this lid and here also I have closed the lid. Both at both ways atmospheric pressure will be applied at both areas. At both areas atmospheric pressure will be observed. Okay, so guys, till then you people go for NPS. Still then you people go for NPS. I'm going to continue this one. Okay, this is nothing but my solvent. Guys, please give honest feedback. Please give honest feedback. Don't manipulate. I hope everybody is giving NPS. Only 68% have been given. I request everybody to give NPS. I request everybody to give NPS. Only 70% only given. Guys, listen here carefully. So please give the NPS. Don't forget. Everybody, I request, please give the NPS. Okay. So listen here. So the water is present here, which is having only water molecules, and here the solution presence of some solute. Okay. So both the pressure will be acting here and here, but the water is having lower concentration, right? The water is having here lower concentration. Again, I'll tell you. Okay. So this is water is having lower concentration. Water molecules, water molecules moves moves from left to right. Okay, through SPM, semi-permeable membrane. Right? So see here, these are the water molecules will move from left to right into the solution. Right? So that is the flow of lower concentration of solvent to higher concentration of solution is nothing but I can call it as a osmosis. I can call it as a osmosis. What is meaning by osmosis? Osmosis is nothing but the flow of the solvent molecules from the lower concentration to higher concentration. The flow of the solvent molecules from lower concentration to the higher concentration is called as osmosis. Is called as osmosis. I hope everybody is clear with this. I hope everybody is clear with this. Please mention in the chat box. Please mention in the chat box if you are clear with this. Right. Everybody. Guys who haven't given NPS, please give NPS. Please give NPS. Right. Very good. So we can say that from the lower concentration to higher concentration, my solvent molecules will going to evaporate. So now there is a semi-permeable membrane. I said that potato is acting as a semi-permeable membrane. I said that potato is acting as a semi-permeable membrane. This is what? This is what is nothing but my semi-permeable membranes. I can say this is my potato cell. Okay, inside potato, how exactly microscopically if you observe, this is how exactly it looks. Or we can say any cell of animal or vegetable, or you can say cellophane also, synthetic, uh, like synthetic membrane that will look like this. Sir, what do you mean by this membrane? Sir, what do you mean by this membrane? If you people can ask me, okay. So is anyone left? Please go through NPS. If anyone left, please go through NPS. So if you can see this one, the membranes appear to be continuous. The membranes appear to be continuous sheets or fillings, yet they contain some network of some submicroscopic holes or pores. If you can see this one, if you can see this one clearly, so that means these are having the sheets. So this is one sheet, this is another sheet, right? So they are having a microscopic holes. You can observe here microscopic holes are present. Okay, microscopic holes are present. So small solvent molecules like water can pass through these holes, but the passage of bigger molecules of the solute is hindered. Hindered is nothing but stopped. I hope it is clear. I hope it is clear to everybody. I hope it is clear to everybody. Right? So that means what I'm supposed to say here, if you can observe, okay, what I'm saying is observe. The water molecules are passing here. See here, the water molecules are passing through the membrane. The water molecules are passing through the membranes, which is having small holes. Okay, usually water can pass, but the solute molecules like salt or any other cannot be passed through the membrane. So these kind of properties which is exhibiting will be called as semi permeable membrane. सेमी permeable membrane का एक ही काम है, वो ये करता है कि जो पानी जैसा मॉलिक्यूल्स हैं जिनका साइज उनके पोर्स से कम है, जिनका साइज उनका होल से कम है, उसी से वो निकल कर बाहर चले जाता है, मतलब उसी से पास होके बाहर चले जाता है. सिंपल पॉइंट ये है कि सेमी परमेबल मेम्ब्रेन्स ऐसा करता है कि उसके अंदर जो होल्स हैं, उसके अंदर जो पोर्स हैं, वो सिर्फ सॉल्वेंट मॉलिक्यूल्स जो है उसी के थ्रू पास करके चला जा सकता है. लेकिन जो सोल्यूट पार्टिकल्स है जैसा साल्ट हो गया, सुक्रोज हो गया, वो उसके थ्रू जाना नहीं सकता क्योंकि वो ब्लॉक कर देता है, उसका गैप इतना नहीं रहता. समझ गया बात? इज इट क्लियर टू एवरीबॉडी? प्लीज मेंशन इन द चैट बॉक्स. इज इट क्लियर टू एवरीबॉडी? राइट? यस. या सो इनिशियल में क्या हो गया? इनिशियल में, यस, वेरी गुड. इनिशियल में सॉल्वेंट मॉलिक्यूल्स जो है, एवरीबॉडी लिसन हियर केयरफुली, सॉल्वेंट मॉलिक्यूल्स जो है विल फ्लो थ्रू द मेम्ब्रेन from the pure solvent which is a low concentration to the high concentration. Okay, so the process of the flow is called as osmosis. Simple point है कि यहाँ पर जो molecules जो था, यहाँ पर जो molecules जो थे ये lower concentration में था, ये higher concentration में है. So ये molecules जो है ये इसके through चला जाता है. You can observe these are red or solute molecules. These red are called as सोल्यूट मॉलिक्यूल्स ये यहाँ पर रुक जाता है, ये यहाँ पर रुक जाता है, लेकिन whatever the solvent molecules are present, they can easily pass. They can easily pass. So this particular process, I can say it is osmosis. So what is going to happen? So to stop the movement of the molecules, you need to apply some pressure in this direction. You need to apply some pressure in the direction. So to stop the molecules movement, you need to apply some pressure. The pressure which is going to be applied in the solution side to stop the movement of the molecules is called as osmotic pressure. Okay, the pressure which just stop the flow of the solvent is nothing but the osmotic pressure. So this is how it's look. Okay, you have increased the pressure here, you have increased the pressure. So what is going to happen? These all will go and stop. So the movement will be, no net movement will be observed. Okay, so no net movement will be observed. Simple point. So initially pressure, both pressures are same. Now along with the atmospheric pressure, you are adding the osmotic pressure. As you are applying the osmotic pressure, what is going to happen? The solution, or we can say the solvent molecules will not enter into the solution. The solvent molecules will not enter into the solution. So this is how you can see the solvent molecules are entering into the solution. Okay, sorry, these are the solvent molecules. I'm sorry. So the solvent molecules are entering into the solution through the semi-permeable membranes. Through the semi-permeable membrane. Okay, so this is nothing but my osmosis process. Okay, how to express? Okay, so we are expecting some pressure on that. We are expecting some pressure. So simple point is, this is my solvent, and this is my solvent, and this is my solution. This is my solution. I am applying some pressure here. So this is nothing but my osmotic pressure. I will represent with pi. Osmotic pressure is represented with osmotic pressure is represented with pi. Okay, so I am applying here. So initially the molecules are passing like this. So and I am applying the pressure here. These are going to block the way. These are going to block the way. These are going to block the way. So that's why the movement of solvent molecules will be decreases. Movement of solvent molecules will be decreases. So this can be given by pi, and that is directly proportional to the concentration of the solute. That is directly proportional to the C. So that is C is nothing but concentration of the solute. Concentration of the solute. So we already know that C can also be termed as molarity. That is given by number of moles of solute present in the total volume of the solution. Number of moles of the solute present in the total volume of solution, and we know that this is given by N2 by V, right? N2 by V, right? So R is a gas constant, T that should be taken in the Kelvin, and we know that weight of the solute upon molar mass of molar mass of the solute will give the N2. Okay, so now the new equation will become like this. V can be go like this. This is how you can calculate. Okay, can you see anything here? Is it looking something like else? Can you correlate this equation with any equation? Can you correlate this equation with any equation? Please mention in the chat box. When you are looking into this formula, can you get any kind of equation in your mind? How it is looking like? Please, anybody try to think about it. Yes, Sinchana, very good, very good, Gaurav, very good, Nischinta, Praneeth, and Ankita, very good. That means it is looking like ideal gas equation. Very good. It is looking like PV is equal to nRT, ideal gas equation, right? Very good, guys. Very good, very good. So you can think that you can also get questions from here. You can also get questions upon comparing with ideal gas equation. You can also get questions upon comparing with ideal gas equation PV is equal to nRT. Okay, so that is very important point. So you can calculate the molar mass by using M2 is equal to W2 upon 1. Just now only I told you. Okay, so what are the uses of osmotic pressure? Osmotic pressure is used to determine the molar mass. Okay, osmotic pressure is used to determine the molar mass of the proteins, polymers and other macromolecules. So इसका और एक advantage है, the advantage for this osmotic pressure is okay, room temperature. If you can see elevation of boiling point or if you can see freezing point, the temperatures might be high or low, but you can, by using the osmotic pressure, you can calculate at the room temperature. So let's suppose say for proteins or polymers, these are unstable at higher temperature, right? Unstable at higher temperature, हायर टेम्परेचर्स पे अनस्टेबल हो जाता है और इनका सॉल्युबिलिटी भी वेरी पुअर है, वेरी poor solubility will be present. So osmotic pressure is used as a colligative property to determine the molar mass. Okay, molar mass is usually calculated by using osmotic pressure like proteins and polymers very easily, right? So another important point is molarity is used. You can see the elevation in boiling point and freezing point. Only molality we are using, but here for osmotic pressure we are using molarity. You are using molarity. That is, everybody you need to remember this one. Okay guys, so these are the very important points regarding the osmosis pressure. So what do you mean by isotonic solution? What do you mean by isotonic solution? Let's suppose say if you can observe, let's suppose say if you can observe, this is solution, solvent A. Okay, this is a solution A and now you have connected with semi permeable membrane. Okay, so this is solution B and this is solution B. Okay, if the concentration, if the concentration is same, if the concentration of same, Ca is equal to Cb, if the concentration is same, that means here the vapor pressure is pre-atmosphere, here the vapor pressure is p-atmosphere, then there is no movement will takes place, then there is no movement will takes place, then there is no osmosis, then there is no osmosis. So that means concentration is same, pi 1 is equal to pi 2. That means both in both directions, in both direction same osmotic pressure will be present, right? Iso is simple point is same, you can simply remember that one. Iso is simply same. Okay, so that means pi 1 is equal to pi 2. If you are having same osmotic pressure, the concentration will also be equal, simple point. Okay, so that means you can also say that, you can also say that no osmosis will occur between them. And okay, so let's suppose say blood plasma, let's suppose you are taking the blood plasma. Okay, so now the comparison is with blood plasma. Now this is my blood plasma, so I am keeping in the salt solution. This is my salt solution, this is my salt solution. The 0.9% weight by volume percentage of the concentration. So if the concentration here also same, if the concentration, let's suppose that this is C1 and this is C2. So matlab C1 is equal to C2 means, okay, is the best, means blood plasma will be equilibrium with the salt solution because there is no entering and there is no exit between blood plasma and the salt solution. So they are both are present in the equilibrium, they are both are present in the equilibrium. If you can observe, if you can observe in the laboratories, if you can observe in the laboratories of zoology where you can say you see the animals and all, you know, they're like they will keep things in the isotonic solution only. Okay, they will keep things isotonic solution only, they can't, you know, enter or they can't exit. Okay, so now what do you mean by hypertonic? What do you mean by hypertonic? So here you can see this is my blood plasma, this is my blood plasma. Okay, and this is my salt solution, this is my salt solution, let's suppose say. Okay, normally I am telling that. Okay, yes. Okay, what is going to happen? Let's suppose say its concentration is equal to C1 is nothing but 0 point, we can say it is 0 point, I can say 1 1 to 2 weight percent volume. Let's suppose say the blood plasma is having concentration is more. Sorry, blood plasma, the concentration is low. I'm extremely sorry. I'm extremely sorry. I'm extremely sorry. I'm extremely sorry. Okay. So this is my blood plasma, right? So this is my blood plasma, and now this is my solution, salt solution. Usually we can say it as brine solution. So usually this is 0.9 uh, percentage. Okay, so you if you can see here, if I'm saying it concentration 1, if I'm saying it concentration is 2, okay, let's suppose say if it is 0.8 weight by volume percentage of the concentration, let's suppose that the concentration is 0.8, and if its concentration is, let's suppose say 0.9 weight by volume percentage. Okay, so what is going to happen? C1 is less than C2, right? So this means this is lower concentration and this is higher concentration. And we know that blood plasma, which is having H2O, we know that the solvent molecules will move from lower to higher, the solvent molecules will move. So that's why the concentration of solution is high, and if you can see the blood plasma is low, what is going to happen? The H2O will move into the solution, so that's why it will going to shrink here, okay. So all the water will be, all the water will be all the water will be enter into the solution, water will be enter into the solution. Is it clear to everybody? What is the meaning of hypertonic? Is it clear to everybody? Please mention in the chat box. Is it clear to everybody? Please mention in the chat box. Okay, are you listening or simply reading? Okay, very good, Sinchana. So that means if the concentration is low, so concentration lower, okay, the movement will be higher. If the concentration is low, then the movement will be observed from lower to higher. Okay, guys, I'm erasing this stuff. Okay. Yeah, isotonic, just now we have discussed, that is both H2O will come and H2O will go. So both will be equilibrium when it is 0.9 weight by water solution. Simple point, if you can see this one, okay, let's suppose that this is my blood plasma, okay. So you have kept in a solution, you have kept in a salt solution, so let's suppose say the concentration is C1, the concentration is C2. So if C1 is, let's suppose say 0.9 weight by volume percentage and C2 is 0.8 weight by volume percentage, right? Now what is going to happen? C2 is lower than C1, so that means it is lower and it is higher. Okay, so that means from the solution, okay, solution H2O will enter into the solvent, that is nothing but the blood plasma. Okay, now the blood plasma will go into the blood plasma, that means the H2O molecules will enter into the blood plasma. So what will going to happen? Blood plasma will be swollen, right? It will become thick, right? It is observing water, why? Because it is lower concentration, it is higher concentration, so osmosis will be occurred from lower concentration to higher, so the water will be go inside the plasma. So because of this, people who eat salt a lot, they are going to undergo into hypo, solution will going to form in their body, which will going to lead to the swelling of legs. Will be observed. Okay, if you are eating too much salt means swelling of legs will be observed in your body. Okay, so this is what I just want to tell you guys. Hypotonic is nothing but simply, it is reverse of it. Okay, I hope you can explain this one, right? So this is the three differences of the solutions based upon the osmotic pressure. So this is the examples of the osmosis. So water from the lower concentration will move it to the higher concentration, right? So water is flowing from ground to the plant leaves, and even though meat also stay kept stable when it is added with a salt. It will be pure when it is added with a salt. Okay, so this is a reverse osmosis. Sir, what do you mean by reverse osmosis? What do you mean by reverse osmosis? It is as simple as that. Reverse osmosis is nothing but when you are applying a pressure here, when you are applying a pressure, that means pi. Okay, so the solvent molecules, okay, will try to enter here. Okay, so if you are increasing this one, if you are increasing, what is going to happen? Obviously, whatever the solvent molecules present here, these will go inside the solvent. Whatever the solvent molecules you are present here, let's suppose say this is the setup and this is my solvent and this is my solution, and you are adding pressure to it. So let's suppose say initially you are having pi, means solvent molecules will pass. When you are applying pi, it will stop. But now you are increasing more pi. If you are increasing pi, what is going to happen? Whatever the solvent molecules present here, these are the solvent molecules, will enter into the solution. So that's why you are going to get fresh water here. You are going to get fresh water. That means you are doing reverse. You are doing reverse of osmosis. So that's why we can call it as RO. We can call it as RO. So RO water is nothing but it is simply following the osmosis. It is simply following the osmosis. I hope you people are clear with this. I hope you people are clear with this, right? Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt? If you have any doubt, you can stay or else you can leave. If you have any doubt, you can stay or else you can leave. So guys, it is nicely, neatly explained in the, it is neatly explained in the NCRT. I request everybody to read the NCRT. I request everybody to read the NCRT. I request everybody is need the NCRT. Okay, so usually desalination for the seawater is observed. Usually desalination of seawater is observed. Okay guys, so these are the questions we can see in the next class. Okay, okay guys, yeah, so listen here. Yes, very good, Pranit. So listen. So this is nothing but my solvent molecules. This is nothing but my solvent molecules. Others can leave. Others can leave. Our class is completed. This is nothing but my solvent. I can take it as water. Okay. So all they can escape very easily. They can escape very easily. All can escape very easily. Very easily. Okay, because you can say that they are they will have some kinetic energy, they will have some kinetic energy, and they will cross the surface very easily. They will cross the surface very easily and creating a vapor pressure, and creating a vapor pressure. Right, now you have added something to it. Now you have added a solute. Now you have added a solute. This is your water. Initially water will be present. These all are the water molecules. These are the water molecules. Now you have added the solute. Now you have added the solute. So these are the solute molecules. These are the solute molecules. To explain you clearly, I'll just a minute. I'll go through the slide. Okay, just a minute. I'll show you. Devendra Paval. Just a minute. I'll show you. I'll show you. Yeah. Yeah. So now you can see this one. Now you can see this one, right? Now you can see this one, right? So if you can observe here, initially we are having pure solvent. All the water vapors are very free to move. all the water vapors are very free to move. Now, due to the addition of solute molecules, due to the addition of solute molecules, these are blocking the surface. These are blocking the surface. When these are blocking the surface, the water molecules will not. Here you can see there are more number of water molecules. There are more number of water molecules. Here we are having less. Here we are having more. Here we are having less. So less means nothing but less vapor pressure. Less vapor pressure. More means more vapor pressure. Is it clear now? Pranit, is it clear now? Pranit, is it clear now? Okay. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I'll share the notes as early as possible. Thank you so much for your time. Bye, everybody. See you on Friday.